Hi friends, today we are going to see about mutual funds, but the aspect of mutual funds which we are going to see in this specific video is about the structure of the mutual fund. And why to see the structure of the mutual fund? Because once we understand the structure of the mutual fund, we will know whether to put our money into mutual fund house, yes or no. That we'll be able to comfort ourselves with that understanding once we know the structure. So the structure is put in place as per the rules, as per the regulations set aside by Security Exchange Board of India and in accordance with the Indian Trust Act 1888. So as per these regulations and act, the mutual fund house is actually been set up, and we have to understand, apart from just the mutual fund, what are the different components of the mutual fund which makes the investors more comfortable to invest into the mutual fund house. So let's see the various aspects of mutual fund going forward, and please share it to your friends, your colleagues, and as many people as possible, so they understand the structure and feel more comfortable that they're putting their money in safe hands. So the structure, coming back to the structure, so there are about 5 components to the structure. I'll just take you through the different components of the structure, and then we will walk through each aspect of the structure. What are the responsibilities of the particular component in that particular structure. So the mutual fund house is not just a mutual fund house. As a matter of fact, it has somebody called as the sponsor of the mutual fund, then it has the trustees of the mutual fund, then it has even the AMC, asset management company of the mutual fund, and then it has a custodian, and then finally the beneficiary, which is the investors. So 5 components of the mutual fund house. And why it is structured? Why are the different components of a mutual fund house? You could just have a fund manager run it and take in the investors and blah blah blah, and that's done. So, but they have this structure to take care of the investors' interest primarily. They have this responsibility to the client's interest or the investors' interest. So they are protected and they are compliance with the regulations, as well as the investors gain from the market. The way the market performs, the mutual fund could either beat the market or at least meet the expectation as per the returns provided by the market. So who are all these people involved here? Who is the sponsor? Who are the trustees? And who is this AMC? Who is this custodian? And then finally the beneficiary, which is the investor. So when you talk about the sponsor is the primary person, the first person who actually goes ahead and registers the mutual fund house. He goes ahead and submits his registration to the SEBI to open the mutual fund house, so that he can start pulling the money from the different investors. Now the sponsor needs to meet some specific requirements. The sponsor, though the key person, he needs to be established into the financial services world at least for a period of 5 years, and he should also have a corpus invested into mutual fund in schemes at a minimum of 50 lakhs or 1% of the total corpus in the mutual fund various schemes. So that is the requirement. And additionally, of course, the requirement is also that the sponsor should be integral, he should be not involved in any crimes, and all those other aspects with respect to compliance which is required by SEBI. Now, once the sponsor actually opens the mutual fund, then he needs to also appoint somebody called as the trustees. Now, as per the Indian Trust Act 1888, the trust, which is also the mutual fund, which is governed by the Trust Act, requires trustees to take care of the assets of the fund house. That means it takes care of the assets for the benefit of the investors or the who are actually the beneficiaries of this particular fund house. So the sponsor registers the mutual fund, and then he also appoints the trustees. If it is a mutual fund company, then it has four trustees has to be appointed, out of which 2/3 needs to be independent trustees, not related to the sponsor. And of course, the trustees need to be integral owners, not involved in any kind of illegal activities, and they should be their primary interest should be the investors. They should protect compliance I mean, they should protect the investors' interest as well as they should ensure compliance as per the regulations. So before any scheme is set up, it is the trustees who ensure the key personnel are actually in place. They have the asset management company ready, they have the fund manager ready, they have the compliance officer ready, and they have various other roles which are required for a running of a mutual fund house. They all need to be set up ready and being in a position to meet the regulation as well as seek monies from the investors. And then we have this AMC body, the third aspect of the structure, asset management company, which is set up by the sponsor and the trustees. And this asset management company is being appointed by the trustees. The key personnel are appointed by the trustees in approval with SEBI as well. And the key personnel should not be involved directly with any sponsor. Or at least 50% of the key personnels in the AMC company should not be involved with the sponsor. They should be independent people. And obviously, being an AMC, they have key personnel like a fund house manager who actually is experienced in the financial industry. At least should have about 5 or to 10 years, as much experience as possible to run the fund house. So you can be assured that the appointment being done by the trustees and the sponsor for the interests of the investors is being taken care by ensuring independence of the AMC. At least 50% independence is there. Now that we know the AMC and what are its responsibilities, the AMC actually is responsible to collect the money from the investor and actually direct this investment into various assets. Securities like stocks in the stock exchanges. It could direct the money to the money market like gold, or even gold, and also the real estate REIT industry. Various assets it could allocate the investors' money. So now that we have known the AMC, let us see who takes care of the assets. I mean, though the AMC purchases the asset, but the custodian, we also have a custodian who is appointed. And the custodian takes care of all these assets and ensure that whatever dividends are being paid, whatever rights have been issued, they are indeed issued as part of the fund house. So the custodian is the actual on behalf of the beneficiary taking care of all the assets and all the dividends and all other aspects which are being received as part of those assets being invested. The custodian takes custody of their particular benefits. And of course, because the custodian takes benefits, he is acting on behalf of the beneficiary, actual beneficiary who is the investor. And the investor has purchased obviously the units, not directly the stocks. Mutual fund house, based on the money they collect, they invest into the stocks and then they sell units to the beneficiary, which is the investor who buys units into the mutual fund house. So the last component, which is the beneficiary, which is the investor, finally can sleep with peace, being aware that there is a fair degree, at least more than 50 degree of independence amongst various components of the mutual fund house, and it is established as a trust. So rest assured, it is run by the trustees who have primarily the client interest being taken care, and you have of course the beneficiary who are primarily the investors. And by taking care of different other regulations, the sponsors for the key people who actually register the mutual fund house, they have to also be invested into their own mutual fund. So that gives us a kind of a comfort that their own net worth is also being invested to a great degree of extent. Almost 40% of the net worth of the AMC should be by the sponsor, or anybody who is having 40% and above is the sponsor of the AMC. So that gives us a comfort factor that the sponsor is also like involved for his own benefit, and that same corpus whatever the sponsor invests is also accumulated along with all other investors' money, so that then the AMC body can actually invest, and the custody is taken by the custodian, and the trustees take care about the compliance, and the investors' interests have been taken care of. So I hope with this structure you will be more comfortable with investing into the mutual fund. Of course, there are certain other aspects of the mutual fund house. Mutual fund house is one of the route of investment. There are various other routes of investment which we will take up in the next video. So we will see what are the different other routes. There are 5 routes of investing into the stocks, and what are these 5 routes, what are the advantages of 5 routes, and how could you benefit from each of these 5 routes. We'll understand in the subsequent video. Until then, hope you have enjoyed this video and keep sharing it to others as well, so that they can also gain maximum from my knowledge, experience of the past 13 years in the investing world. And do read my book.